build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me ball, but I can see between to a dusty yard and long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Longbangers. This is episode 162. I'm Matty. I'm joined tonight by John and by Colin. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. Had a pretty good weekend. How are you?
I'm also good, yeah. Was at the game today. Enjoyed it. Colin, sitting beside you. How are you doing?
All right, aye. Not bad. It was a nice afternoon. Pushing the rain now, but it was a nice afternoon. Shorts and t-shirt weather at the game.
I went at Tesco and you could hear it battering off the roof. And I got absolutely soaked, got out and got to the car. That was good fun. Before we start, just say wee congratulations to a regular contributor, Leon, and his family on the birth of their wee girl. Well done, Leon, mate. All the best and congratulations, etc. Right, on tonight's episode, we will be discussing the, would you call it a draw? Or was it a loss against Morton because they got the extra point on the penalties?
Well,
will we get into the technicalities?
No, I suppose a 3-0 win at Morton. We'll discuss the 3-0 win to Morton. We will discuss a wee bit about today's friendly with Norwich and also the situation with Rocky Bashiri, which led to Morton getting the 3-0 win. If you want to hear us discussing the interview that the podcast did with Ron Gordon, that will follow this on Longbangers Extra Time, which you can get by subscribing at longbangers.hubwave.net. So, right, we'll get right into it. A bit of a disappointing, I say a bit of a disappointing, probably an understatement, cup run. So we're out of the League Cup already. Wasn't quite the final nail in the coffin, but one of the penultimate nails in the coffin happened on Wednesday night with the draw and then penalty loss to Morton. Colin, I'll come to you first. What was your take on the game?
It was just a really poor performance. And another one that was just like it was just as bad as Falkirk, the first half at Falkirk, wasn't it, the other week? Really, really poor. Like, team that came, like we were speaking last week when Davy Farrell was on and talking about how shite Morton are and the politics that are going on that he brought to the conversation, but how the boy I know, that's the Farry Partick in the Championship, saying it was just a team of jobbers, like really that's what they've got, and you've seen that they were falling down, looking for injury, looking for to waste time and eke out a draw, like for 10 minutes in, and we couldn't break them down. It's just a wee bit like throwback to last season, Probably even throwback to the Championship season.
Yeah, aye. It did have a bit of a
throwback longer than that.
Aye. John, just run through the lineup, right? And get your thoughts on it. So with Marshall in goals, Cadden started at left back, Madroki, Porteous in the centre, Miller at right back, Kenna, Newell, Henderson in midfield, then Melkerson, McGeady and Doidge up top. Anything jumping out about that lineup that you liked or didn't like?
Are you asking what I thought of the lineup before the game started, or what I thought of the lineup when the game started?
Well, give it both.
Do you know what, though, right? For you, that's got to be about the strongest team you could have put out. That is the fucking sad thing about it, isn't it? Like, listening to those names, you think, apart from playing Cadden out of position, like you look at it and go, what else have we got? But anyway, John, on you go.
Before the game, I wasn't too concerned because, like Colin says, I thought it was probably about the strongest 11. There was probably a wee bit of an eyebrow raiser with Cadden Cadden being at left back rather than right, because Cadden's pretty one-footed. And then but other than that, I thought it was strong enough, and I thought, do you know what? I was probably particularly pleased after the Falkirk game because of how that first half went, because of the sort of wholesale changes that there was. And then as the first half progressed, I thought there was two things that wasn't really quite working out. One, I don't think Kenna was working in there. I wonder if we maybe needed a different player. because I thought he maybe slowed the game down a bit, and we were just lacking. I wouldn't say that we were lacking in pace, but we didn't move the ball quick enough. And one thing that was apparent was, like, Cadden was getting into really good space, and we could not get the ball to him quick enough. So anytime we did get the ball to him, he was having to check back on his right foot. Just could not stretch the opposition. And for what Colin was saying about, or what Colin's mate was saying about them being jobbers and what have you, it's pretty poor that we weren't able to break them down. But as you said, that's been a wee bit of a hallmark of Hibs beyond the Championship. It's been like that for years and years and years when teams come in and just pack their own half. We didn't seem to have an answer to it, and I thought that we might have improved upon that, because certainly in the Clyde game, one of the changes that we saw compared to last season was the pace that we were moving the ball around. And don't know why, but in the last two games, it just seems to have disappeared.
Colin, we'll talk a bit more about Cadden at left back, because I think that Cadden, if you look at how he played last season, so he got voted Player of the Year. Had a really good season and generally provides a bit of a threat down the right. By playing him at left back, how much did that sort of nullify his attacking threat altogether?
I think it seemed to completely nullify it. Like, I can't remember him being in the game at all. And you've also got Porteous playing on the left-hand side, which is he's right-footed, isn't he? And it's Dave Graham's point, and you've got to play a left footer there. Maybe we saw he's not talking pish. The other night,
that out, by the way.
even against a shite team like that, like that side was struggling. I think on the other side they seemed too close to each other as well. Miller and
Rocky.
Or
McGeady.
No, the McGeady on the right. Aye, was it McGeady on the right? I think it was. They two seemed too close to each other. These two seemed to be nobly, because they're both right footers playing on the left. It was just nullified. It was completely. It was just shite. Like, I can't get any more tactical analysis than that.
It's just shite. It was also the front three, and I could have reflected on this after the game. We had Melkerson playing wide, McGeady on the other side, and Doidge. For me, Doidge was too deep as well. I didn't care why he was the sort of properly spearheading the attack, but he was like coming deep to win headers or contest headers, because I think he won that many. Because he wasn't really in the game at all on, was it Tuesday night, Wednesday night?
Aye, yes.
Whatever night it was. Yes. And I just thought having Melkerson wide, you made him less effective. Doidge was too deep, and then McGeady. Joe, what did you think of McGeady's performance?
Again, I thought the performance of the team was an improvement on the Falkirk game, and I thought McGeady's performance was better as well. But then there was maybe a couple of things that let him down. I can't remember. There was definitely some things that happened during the game that I wasn't overly enamoured with. And then it was summed up by a shite penalty.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually can't remember how he missed. Like, did the keeper save it, or if he put it wide left?
The keeper saved it, but he done that pausing thing, and the whole. I thought the whole point of the pausing thing was to let the goalie dive and you roll it the other way.
Yeah.
But he paused, the goalie dived, and he fucking played it the same way as, and the keeper just saved it.
Yeah.
So the keeper's sitting there waiting on it almost. Like, it was. Aye. I thought he showed a couple of flashes on Wednesday night, I think it was, to say he might be a decent sign, and obviously didn't show much today because he was globbed at the pitch by about 10 minutes in. But he, I think maybe touches and no step overs, but like the wee dribbles and that. I thought he looks like he's getting fitter.
That's what I thought, Colin. Now that you mention it, was just the quick feet, the drop of the shoulder, trying to beat a man, trying to get a ball into the box. I think maybe late in the game he's beat a man, he's hit a shot, and it's maybe come off Melkerson rather than testing the keeper. But you can't blame him for that.
No, I would have liked to have seen him try to beat men a little bit less. Once he'd beaten them, just to put the cross in at that point. The amount of times he sort of check back to do it again, and found that a wee bit frustrating, especially when you're like, get the ball in the box. We needed the ball going to the box earlier than it did sometimes. Colin, Joe Newell came in for a bit of stick. If you look at the forums, he was kind of highlighted as a weak point in the game. Agree or disagree, and why?
So it's a funny one, this, because folk have just, it's like there's two camps, because my wife's in one. She's not a fan of Joe Newell. I like Joe Newell. I thought he was all right the other night. I thought him and Henderson were two of the better players. And earlier on, certainly in the game, he was always running about and putting his tackles in and all of that, getting up and down the park. But he's just one of the guys that automatically get a hard time for a group of people that have never liked him and they're never going to like him. You know, there's the same folk that come out. And I'm not saying he's good every week. I just think he gets harsh criticism a lot of the time. Maybe because he's an experienced player and people expect more from him and assume he's a higher earner, all of that kind of thing. I thought he was all right the other night. I didn't think he wasn't the worst by a mile.
What about you, John?
I thought he had a tricky first 5-10 minutes. There was a couple of his passes were intercepted or went astray, and my mate that was sat next to me thought that he was maybe struggling at that point. But I don't think I thought that you might have seen disappear for the game because there was opening 10 minutes, but he didn't. I think once I've mentioned it before about his technical ability, like the ball at his feet, and I think you saw that in the Bonnyrigg game with was it the second goal where he's kind of like plucked out there, he's taken a couple of touches and he's tucked it away. Like I think that's what he brings to Hibs, and I actually think that he's pretty accurate with his passing, despite that opening 10 minutes. I wouldn't have said that he had a particularly bad game on reflection, but maybe other people have got different memories of it.
The only one that scored his fucking penalty, no, I think, wasn't
he? He was. And the other player we got to look at was Lewis Miller, right back. So a lot of endeavour, not, I think on Wednesday night or Tuesday night, whichever night it was, not a huge amount of quality from him. I think that's a fair thing to say, John.
Aye, I'm going to try and go with my typical optimistic assessment of this. I think he's an incredible athlete. I think he will run and punch and kick everyone harder, faster, higher than anyone else, I think, at Easter Road. And I wonder if he maybe just needs to slow down a wee bit. Like, I think there's a lot of enthusiasm there, and I wonder if that maybe results in him getting a wee bit ahead of the ball. Maybe needs to think about the game more rather than just use brute force to get through it. That being said, I think he maybe had probably Hibs' best chance in the first half. I think he had a half volley for the edge of the area that went just a wee bit wide.
Yeah, I think the keeper maybe got a save on it. Did he touch on it?
Yeah, I think maybe as the first half went on, he started to get a wee bit better, started to grow into the game a wee bit more. But by that point, Hibs were looking for a tactical substitution.
Half time, we did make the substitutions. Campbell came. Did he come on at half time? Can't remember. Came on and went to left back. Jair came on at half time, and I think later on Bojan came on, didn't he? He didn't come on at half time as well. I think he only got maybe another way around. Jair coming on midway through the half. And
so
Bojan
did Campbell replace Miller, and there was a switch. And then you had, was it Tavares replaced Kenna then at half time?
Yeah.
Is that how it worked?
Is it Jair? We're going with Jair or Tavares for him when we're talking about him? So we're on the same player.
I think because as Ian keeps correcting us in the pronunciation, we should call him Tavares, just to be fix about it.
Aye. Let's go with that. So they came on, and to be fair, there wasn't much difference. I thought Campbell did well at left back. For all Campbell took a lot of stick last season, I actually thought he looked decent at left back, and he started there again today, Colin, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of him in that position?
He looks all right. He looks quite comfortable there. I've only seen the two halves, I suppose, in that position. He did play in defence one game last year. Mind folk were saying
he dropped back
Campbell,
centre half against
Cove.
Against Cove.
Right, is that what it was?
Right.
But he looks all right left back. He looked more comfortable probably than Cadden did, even though he's right-sided as well. I think naturally maybe he's just a bit more comfortable in his left as well. But looks all right. But we're now playing a midfielder at left back rather than Well, we've signed a left back, haven't we? That's the thing. Stevenson must be injured because he wasn't there the day either. So
I think he's getting a scan or an assessment on a hamstring injury.
Right.
Lewis Stevenson doesn't get fucking hamstring injuries, John.
Just
He'll laugh at that. He'll go, fuck, man. Do the scan. Even no matter what it says, I'm not injured.
Do you remember? I can't remember if it was against Tripoli or if it was another European game where it looked like he'd taken a bad knee injury, and everyone was, well, I say everyone, I was in bits. I was like, oh fuck, Lewis Stevenson's injured. I can't believe it, especially because it looked like it was maybe like a knee ligament or something. And I think he maybe had like 2-3 minutes of treatment, came back on, and that was him. He was fine.
Aye. He's no bother. He's like McGregor, eh? McGregor's like another player, be like, I can look at injured.
Aye. McGregor has had 3 cruciates in his career.
Aye. That's how much he laughs at the wedge cruciate.
No cruciate left.
Bojang came on as well. Didn't really get involved too much in the game.
I thought he was involved in Hibs equaliser, was he not?
Apart from his involvement in the equaliser.
I know he had a shite game apart from being involved in.
I wasn't saying he was shite.
No, I'm being flippant. I actually
scored a goal again.
Henderson.
Aye.
And do you know it was a cracking goal? So I tell you what, before we talk about Bojang, we'll pull it back in. Morton get the penalty. Any complaints about the penalty calling?
Nah. None. I think only John Neal had any complaints about it. Looking at me, he was still moaning about it about 20 minutes after he gave it away. But it's one of them, he never put his arms out, but it's one when you've got your hands there, you've got to, I say they're up high against his chest. But I'd be shouting for it if it was at the other end. So, aye, penalty.
Referee did they hesitate to give it, John, did he? And the boy tucked away, not sure who scored it, tucked away quite nicely.
I think that was maybe when I tweeted that I was going to add him to my big book of bastards in the black. I couldn't because I tweeted afterwards as well after the game. Do you remember Hibs against Clydebank back in about 2000 when Joan Robotham gave a penalty against Ian Murray for what looked like exactly the same thing? It was just so quick, and it was another one of those games where you're playing against low league opposition where it's a bit stuffy and you're struggling to break them down, and then they get a sniff, and the sniff was the penalty, and the referee was, I think it was almost as if the ball hit presumably Newell's hands, and then the whistle was in his mouth, and he was pointing to the spot. It was instantaneous, and I just think that he couldn't wait to give it.
Yeah, but I think if that went to VAR, it's still going to be given as a penalty.
I've not had the benefit of looking at it back, so I'm guessing you have.
Aye.
Aye. Was it definitely a penalty?
Well, I thought it was a penalty, and I'm normally side on that's never a penalty ref when it goes against us. even the ones where we've kung fu kicked somebody, do you know, a fucking soft penalty that. But nah, I thought I didn't really have any major complaints about it. It did sort of give us a wee boot up the arse though, and then it wasn't long after that we got the equaliser, and funnily enough, the equaliser came for like a quick counter, and it was the first time we were really direct, like properly just with pace. It was almost in a straight line up the left-hand side. And the ball ended up at Henderson's feet, and he had a lovely wee dribble and finish. Do you think, John, that is the sort of football that Johnson's wanting us to play? Is that indicative of it?
I think so. It's funny. So to be critical for a second, I was having a chat in the car coming away after the game, and I was talking about like the number of different managers we've seen, the number of different people at board level, had a couple of owners changed, and yet we still find ourselves in that situation where we struggle to break teams down, and we need that boot up the arse, we need that penalty or goal or whatever it happens to be, and then suddenly we start playing the football that we are capable of. And you're like, well, where the fuck was that for the last like 60, 70, 80, 90 minutes, whatever? It's really, really frustrating. I think Lee's on record as saying that he wants to get bodies in the box. It's a numbers game. Get bodies in the box, create chances, get bodies in the box. The more bodies you have, the more chances you create, the more goals you're going to score, you'll beat the opposition. Seems pretty straightforward. Just frustrating that on Wednesday night it was that direct play that you described, that it was that one chance that created for us.
And the crowd sort of almost willed the ball in as well. Like, you could sort of sense as we were breaking forward, everybody going, go on, and then when we equalised, Colin, do you think we would go on then to sort of get the extra goal that we needed?
So I think I did. I think I hoped we did, but I don't know if I thought we would. Does that make sense? Because I just didn't. We're not creating much. What's the word? Not creating much menace. Who was it that said that again?
Graham Spears.
Graham Spears. Aye. But it didn't look very menacing at all. So
can I ask a question? Just to be,
shite.
just to
Hopefully
be
we'll get
difficult.
another one. Aye, go on then.
Is it hard to look menacing when you have 10 men behind the ball, sometimes 11 men behind the ball?
No, I don't think so. Celtic that manage it. Rangers manage it. They do it every week. No, I think Hearts managed it in that league that week that year in the Championship, didn't they? Just get an early goal, just hit it from anywhere, get a deflection, take the goal, and then beat somebody 10-0 and all that year, didn't they? It's just. I don't think so. I don't think it is.
The early goals are a big factor. And the same against Falkirk. Like if we go out all guns blazing that first 10, 15 minutes in any of these games against the teams who will sit in, if you give it everything, like so if you imagine like the last 10 minutes when you're chucking the kitchen sink at a goal and trying to get something for the game, if you did that for the first 10 minutes, get the goal, right away the other team can't sit in for the rest of the game because they've lost the game if they do that. So the game opens up and you're spot on, call. And that was what Hearts did in that season. You could watch it like when the score's coming through, you go, first 20 minutes, thinking how many times they would have done it. Hearts would get a goal, and we were getting the goals in 85 minutes, 87 minutes, and winning 1-0. And I think that's key. I think if we'd done that at the start against Morton and got a goal, it would have been a completely different night.
So how is it we've not doing that with that succession of different managers, players, boardroom level people, owners that are described? It seems, because it can't be that the same people are appointing the same types of managers, because that's not true. People have changed.
There's a couple of things for it. There's this. This is just me thinking on the spot, John, because you've only just asked the question and not had time to think it through, right? But you have this Hibs way playing football.
Hold your feet to the fire.
I don't make sure if I could. Then go easy on me here. Interrupt if you have to. They've got this Hibs way playing, right? And so you look at the succession of managers we had. Probably the manager we were best at it with was Lennon, who was get forward and get a goal. But Heckenbottom, Maloney, Jack Ross, it's about possession. What control the game? Stubbs even was control the game, have the possession and work the ball forward. Whereas, and I didn't watch enough of Hearts, but they have no problems at all as a support with their team going, route one, get the ball into the box as quick as you fucking can, and then get the second ball, the knockdown, whatever it is, and get a goal for that. I don't think we would have a problem with it if you were doing it for 10 minutes at the start of the game and just cracking everything. I think it would probably work for us, but it sounds daft to say I didn't think they've thought about it. But I just think it doesn't fit with the philosophy of the managers that we've had. It's all been about win the game, control the game, and do it that way, which is why we'll pass the ball to death to try and fucking pull somebody out of position to create a space. But we're just
there's this Hibs way thing as well that gets in the way. So if you bring a manager in and say win the games early doors, it's like we'd be saying, we were 2-0 up early doors, but fuck's sake, man, they just launched it in the box a few times and got lucky, and then it was shite after that.
Mixer was a bit like that, wasn't he? Like he went through a spell of winning games early doors, like going a couple of goals up, and then for like next 80 minutes it was what the fuck, just like backs to the wall.
What it should do though, and this is where you need the manager and be that pragmatic, is if you get that early goal, then do the possession stuff, then attack the way that you want to attack the game, because you know them playing against 10 men behind the ball, because they have to come out and attack. You can counter attack them and all the rest of it, and then you can win your games 2-3-4-0, 2-3-4-1, whatever, if they get a goal. It's a good question, John. I like that one. I might ask it on another episode. I'll write it down. Keep it for later. Right, went to penalties. Then so we didn't get another goal. We had a couple of wee sort of half chances here. And I think McGeady flashed a shot across the goal. McGeady, I think again, maybe Campbell put the ball in across the, showing the corridor of uncertainty, as it gets labelled. You're dying on it, one of your strikers taking a chance, and we had nobody in there.
That was shocking, eh?
It was shocking. And then the game just kind of petered out. We lost count of the amount of headers and stuff we had for corners that went miles off, or went straight up in the air, or the wrong way, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was just a frustrating night. And then go to penalties. Shite penalties again.
Do you remember who took them? I can only remember that we missed the first one. I think Newell scored the second.
Henderson went first, then McGeady, then Porteous, and then
fuck. So we missed 3 in succession.
Aye. Well,
fucking hell! I'd removed that from my memory. Thanks for bringing it back.
When Porteous stepped up, I mean, this is no disrespect to Porteous, but it's just one of those nights where you're already past the point of being absolutely livid about it, and you're actually kind of finding it a bit fucking funny. He's putting the ball down. Me and my wife, who was with me, we were saying, "Where about in the stand do you think it's going to hit here?" He just he was going to lash it, and the way our night was going, it was going to end up in the famous 5, and so we never got it right. Like we were over to the right, and I
feel like in a situation where the first guy misses a penalty, that's where you need your senior players and your leaders to step up. And then you've got McGeady, who's had the career behind him that he's had, making an arse's penalty twice in the space of 3 days. And then you've got Porteous, captain in waiting, smashing it across the crossbar, smashing it against the crossbar. Like, that's really, really disappointing.
Yeah. Brutal. I mean, the penalties were horrendous. It just sort of summed up our night. I think Lee Johnson said after the game, it was like 19 shots and 3 on target, which is pathetic, really. I mean, that the keeper was barely tested over the course of 90 minutes. When you're playing Morton, it's not acceptable. When you have to kind of really be asking questions of the team to say, like, how can you be that bad against a team at that level? But they were, and here we are, out of the cup. The next day, then the news broke that Rocky shouldn't have played. He picked up 2 bookings. And so there was a hearing, and Hibs forfeited the game 3-0, which literally killed our chances. Our chances were already hanging by a thread by that point of going through, but that killed them stone dead.
Just in the interest of making sure that I understand this fully, because I haven't really looked at the details too much, does that mean that Morton didn't get their bonus point, Hibs didn't get the draw, Morton got the 3 points in the group? Aye.
Yeah. Yeah, everything that happened was immaterial when they went to, except for bookings and that, they still count in that situation.
The irony.
Which is weird.
It's like an abandoned match. They take the goal off the boy that scored it, but they didn't take the booking or the red card off the guy that got it.
That's it. If he takes his t-shirt off to celebrate, he gets the booking but no the goal.
The goal that doesn't exist.
Brutal. So a couple of things on that. Lee Johnson's been in the news today saying that there should have been more from the SFA or SPFL. SFA, I think, handled the suspensions to flag it. But I think there's no getting away that it's a monumental balls up for the club. What would you say about it, Colin?
It should be something we do, yeah. I mean, although it does sound more common, I think, than you would think, because there was 2 or 3 other teams got done in the same week as us for it. However, we are a full-time club with people in place to do that job, whereas these guys are part-timers, and it's probably like a club secretary that's doing it as a volunteer. So there is a slight difference. However, there is a fucking database to go and check. It's a mistake. If it was to happen again, I would be more concerned. It's one mistake. It's not cost us anything in reality, other than a bit of embarrassment or reputational damage. It's not, $5 grand?
$5 grand. I think four suspended. Pay $1,000, $4 suspended.
Right. So it's cost us a wee bit of money in that. But I wouldn't know what I mean. It's just boys. Imagine being a young guy just in the job, big chance. make a mistake like that, you've got to feel fucking horrendous, haven't you? Right? You're not going to. But I've seen folk calling for him to get sacked, and it's just total overreaction. It's no cost us anything. He's made a mistake. He'll no fucking do it again. If he does, then like I'll join you. But
Yeah.
let's just fucking calm the fuck down a wee bit and no call for folk to get sacked in this current environment, especially when he's just made a mistake that's not had any real cost to us. If it had won, it would have been a lot worse, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And you're right. I think that at that point, it'd be just, there's none. It's perfect. Then I think there was a group, one of the group chats when kind of come up that, it's amateur and they're slaughtering the boy. And I was like, just as well none of us make mistakes.
Yeah, I know.
And you just have to remember, it's one of these, it's a shite thing to happen, but it's happened. And as long as folk learn from it and you move on, then.
It's one of the things that it's because at the moment, the club seem to be making that many mistakes. Like if you look at the programme or the match preview thing today and all that, the club shop running the strips and the replica kits and all that kind of stuff. That like you can't blame the boy for he's made his mistake. Right, his mistake didn't impact that they're all different things. But we're just blaming Hibs for everything and going, well, that's fucking sack him because he's just made a mistake.
Yeah.
They've all made a mistake. You got to sack the boy in the club shop that's not done enough stuff in. You sack the boy for the comms team that didn't change the team we're playing against. Like they all made a mistake.
Yeah.
And it just looks shite and it makes us look a wee bit amateur. But it's just because we're being shite in the park. Nobody would be bothered a fuck, right? There's been spelling mistakes in the programmes for years.
Forever,
because we were a better team. Right. So I'm just a wee bit like once everything gets sorted on the pitch, and I'm confident it will, right, at some point, then nobody will be bothered to fuck about all these things again. It's just highlighted more than now because we're so bad, or we don't appear to have improved or changed since last season.
Yeah, and so we did a little bit of digging. Some information was forwarded to us. There was a question mark because Bashiri's been cited as well. So as well as Hibs getting this being charged, Bashiri's been cited. Apparently, this is just to make sure he does actually serve a suspension that he should have done. So he does still need to miss a game. And there was a question mark raised about whether or not the other players from the other clubs were also individually getting cited because they're not on the list on the SFA site. And I believe that they are being cited. It's just they're not high profile enough to go on that list. So they'll still get the charge, etc. But that one's only for sort of your Premiership players.
That's mental. That's how they do it, though. I mean, that is like on the other hand. So we've talked about how amateur and all that. This is all these mistakes have made us look. How amateur does that look? Like they just go. He's famous enough to go on that list.
I suppose it's how far down. Yeah, how far down the leagues do you go to?
Well, they publish all the suspensions. So why do they not publish all these? Like,
yeah. And the fourth official was other comment that Lee Johnson made that kind of this amateurish that you've not got a fourth official, and this was an SPFL decision to save a bit of money in these rounds so they didn't bother with them. But I think it would have been helpful to have one because the amount of added time that should have been played against Morton was about double what was actually played, and perhaps a fourth official might help the referee with that a bit.
It is funny. Like, I mean, the Johnson comments and that, I actually agree with them, but it's just the wrong time to say them because it looks like sour grapes, and that's the unfortunate thing. But he's actually, I mean, to be playing that was your pre-season programme.
Yeah,
it was games against Falkirk and Clyde. Who did we play? Clyde and all the teams we were just talking about. But I nearly said Clyde Bank. That's because he was talking about that. But that's your pre-season programme, but we know that. Like he's been going on about that since he came in. Though pre-season was not long enough, which I still can't like quite comprehend what he means. Like was he saying we're not going to give the players any time off in the summer, or what was he trying to say? But playing the League Cup, which is a competitive tournament, is one of the two that everybody can realistically win outside the Old Firm, is pre-season, and half the teams not being in it. Like as well, I mean, Motherwell have done fuck all. Dundee United, they haven't been in Europe yet. Why are they not in it? Like, what's the
Motherwell got beat in Europe?
They played one game.
Yeah,
so they could have easy, and the one game that could have been the week. Like we never played today when there was a whole League Cup because of its odd size groups.
Aye.
So there's a week you get off. So that's the week you have off while you're playing Sligo. You because they might have even had a better chance against them if they'd had a fucking these
Some
games to
competitive
play.
games.
Just
Aye.
and Dundee United have they played yet? I don't think they've all been all pre-season. Hearts haven't they? Like, so what is the benefit of them not being in? Well, aye. The benefit is that you might not get knocked. You can't get knocked out. You're straight in at the last 16. That's the benefit.
Yeah.
However, they're no benefiting. Are they benefiting by playing Crawley Town, or I can't remember who they played? You know, the teams they played more than they would have been playing against Dunfermline or something like that.
Aye,
It just seems a bit.
it's an interesting one, the whole pre-season thing. The issue of it is relative because it's pre-season for those. Like Falkirk are in pre-season and Mortimer in
I know.
pre-season. Like it,
Aye, and they
we
should have been further behind us because we went
Aye.
to Portugal and done all that. I agree. I totally agree with all that. However, it just seems like they're trying something different, but they're effectively. I think they're, you know, demeaning the trophy by having 5 teams not in it, playing it as pre-season. It's a pre-season kickabout. And I just think it's a wee bit. The League Cup was better when it started. It would have started. Would have played St Johnstone. We would have had a game Wednesday night. That would have been the old way, yeah.
Aye.
Use the midweeks. All these fucking European leagues and that probably fuck it all up now, because there's so many games in Europe that they can't find enough midweeks for Rangers and Celtic. But I don't know. I agree with him, but it's the wrong time to say it because it just comes over as like he's only saying as he got knocked out.
It's interesting that a few of the winning managers had backed him up as well. They said the same. Can't remember who it was that they were there before.
They'll not make headlines. Right.
No, they'll know. Okay, right. We'll talk quickly about this afternoon's game. So 1-0 win against Norwich. So it's an interesting game. So the first half pretty much played close to our first team, I think, Colin. Well, John, did you get a chance to see the game? Did you? I know you couldn't make it because you were on dad duties.
No, I saw hee-haw other than the goal.
Cool. Okay, so I'll focus more on Colin for these questions. And so the first half, Colin, what did you make it?
I'm glad I never paid for it. Please, I'm not going to any more friendlies. I've said it before. I'm not going to friendlies, and I've not been at friendlies for years. And I went today because it was free, and I thought, fuck it, I'll take it. But it's shite. It's just boring, just dull.
Was it just like a sort of pedestrian kickabout, like nobody really going for it?
Well, no, they were, but I think that was because they played. Did they play the reserves or something today? Because they played yesterday against Celtic, so like Hanley and McLean and all that, weren't they? Well, McLean came on for 10 minutes at the end, but all the big names weren't playing. For the start, certainly. So they had something to prove. They were niggly as fuck, is how I think I described it at the match. Every tackle they went in, they put a wee elbow or a wee push. It was like, did you ever watch Aussie Rules?
Yep.
And you come in like the balls you play, and the two of them are just standing pushing each other. It was a bit like that. You think, what, you're pushing each other for like the boss will be over there. But it was even because Miller got involved in it, like as well later on. And you think it was just niggly, and there was no bookings, John, no bookings, right? Some heavy tackles going in. No bookings until Lewis Miller put a tackle in because it was late enough for the ref to give a booking by then. So we got one booking, they got 9. They put 10 bad tackles, and we put 1. It was like, fuck it out. But it was a Scottish ref. I can't remember his name. I still can't remember his name. But it is one of the Scottish refs, so it's what we expect.
You just try to protect him for going to my book.
Yeah, he probably's already there because I do recognise him. I just can't get his name out.
I thought it added something to the game, though, having that wee bit niggly, because it meant that nobody was like shirking a tackle. There were some like full-blooded challenges going in, and I thought Miller looked good today. I thought that was his best game for us.
He put the ball to play a couple of times, but other than that, he was actually all right. He looked quite strong. And what John said earlier on, talking about him, it's probably a good summary of it. He does always seem to be chasing the ball. Like he never seems to have it. He's always like 5 yards ahead of him.
Steamroller and folk as he gets to.
Aye. So it's probably a good description for it. But I'm trying to think, because we changed the whole team at half time, didn't we? So what do we learn from it? We learned that most of these, that Johnson thought, fuck, somebody's got to get injured, which McGeady did early doors and came off. Somebody else come off. Was that it? That was it.
That was it first half. Deutsch came on for McGeady. I actually thought we looked better after that switch.
Yeah. I dodged one for a few headers the day, didn't he?
Won a lot.
It was a decent goal, decent finish. That's where like you want your striker to be, I suppose, when the ball drops there, and he was. Should have scored earlier. Mind he just slashed it one. Is that what you just got to say?
That chance just sat up nicely for him, and he sort of got. He could have taken a touch to bring it down and finish, but he sort of followed it with his left foot and just got it all wrong. I thought for the first 20 minutes, Norwich looked quite a bit better than us. I don't think we really troubled their keeper at all. I think we commented at the game calling about we only had one sort of like half chance where we broke down the right. Tavares, I think, linked up with Miller to create the chance. I think Henderson might have been involved in it as well, but it didn't really come to anything. But after McGeady went off, Deutsch came on, and then from about 25 minutes in, I thought we started to kind of really pressure game on them. We definitely looked more likely than them to score after that point.
They never looked like scoring in the second half either, did they?
No. Tavares, what did you make of him? So over the course of the two games, but probably you got a better look at him today.
I can't remember him doing that much, to be honest with you. I can't remember him being that involved. He stands back because of the hair,
Yeah.
But I can't think of much that done impressed me, really. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where he's got to go, if he's got to play much. Like once we get everybody's work permits and injuries and that sorted, maybe it's just he's not played many games, has he? So hopefully he's going to improve on, or move on. But I think he done that. I think he done anything good today, did he?
He looked quite tidy on the ball, but didn't he? I don't think he created anything, which is probably the one thing that you're looking for a player in that position to do.
Yeah,
is to create. Melkson, we spoke about his goal. I think he played a bit more central when him and Deutsch worked a bit better when they were together. In fact, Melkson started through the middle when McGeady and Tavares were wide, and he looked a lot more effective straight through the middle than he does coming from wide. And I probably would mention Rocky as well. So Rocky, aside from playing when he shouldn't have, I thought he's probably been the standout centre half over the course of the pre-season. How do you think he did today, Colin?
I thought he was all right. He only played the 45 minutes, didn't he? But he looked all right, looked comfortable, didn't give the ball away. So he was all right. Didn't get much to do, but he looked comfortable enough.
John, what have you thought of Rocky's performances over the course of the games so far?
I thought he's looked. I thought he's looked all right. I thought he maybe looked, and this might have been because of the plastic pitch. I thought there was a couple of times when he was trying to drive the ball forward against Falkirk where he looked a wee bit clumsy, but I think that was maybe like a little bit like what you were saying about Lewis Miller. Like, always seemed to be chasing the ball, trying to just get it under control with like one more touch. But other than that, I think he's, I don't know, I think the only thing I'm really looking for any other defenders at a really sort of simplistic level is win headers and tackles, and he's been doing that, so not any complaints.
Cool. Colin, development side came on for the second half. It's all young lads. Who stood out for you from that group?
I actually enjoyed the second half a bit more than I did the first. Watching them, I quite like Tate. I like Del Ferry.
Yeah, Del Ferry.
I like Del Ferry. I like the look of both of them actually. And the laddie McIntyre on the left side, he looks small and he got pushed off the ball once, but he's got a nice feet and he doesn't give up. Like he won a few tackles and they went and won the second ball that spun out the back of them, and that he looks handy. Is it Oscar McIntyre?
Yeah,
can't remember what.
Sure it was.
They look good. I quite like the look of McClelland and is it Blaney as well? I know they never had much to do, but I thought they looked what they did have to do. They looked all right. And the young lad McGregor that was centre half had a couple of good tackles.
He's got a future ahead of him, that boy, hasn't he?
He'll go the way.
Straight out of Saudi Arabia under 16s, isn't
he? I'm trying to think who else, but I think Tate looks solid. He looks like he's quite a chunky, in a good sense. He looks physically ready for it, and as does I can't say it again. Del Ferry. I think they look physically ready, whereas some of the other ones look like they need to get on the protein shakes, but they've got the technical ability.
Aye, I thought Tate is an interesting one because he sort of played that quarterback role, didn't he? Where he was kind of sitting a bit deeper, picking up the ball, had his head up, and was just spraying passes about. It's interesting to see if you were putting him into the first team, Colin, who's coming out to accommodate him.
I would think it could be, well, it's maybe the boy Kenner, because I've not seen much for him yet to say what he is. I mean, I've heard Lee Johnson talking about we're working with him on the ball because he's really good off the ball. And I'm thinking, well, Tate's quite good on the ball, so maybe we want to get a ball player in the midfield. Maybe he would maybe complement Joe Newell better than Kenner. I don't know if you took Joe Newell out of the team, which a lot of folk would probably say. I don't know if Kenner and Tate would be the answer either. I can't see that being. So I think it would be Tate with Newell maybe would be where I would go.
John, do you think
sounds very sweet, like a big bag of sugar?
Just about it. Given the fanfare around Kenner's arrival, would you see the manager taking him out of the squad or out of the first team in order to play Tate with Newell? Or do you think he would look at somebody else to swap out?
Again, I think Johnson's on record saying it was after the Falkirk game, and he referenced the 4 substitutes that he made at half time, saying like nobody was safe for getting dropped. So if Kenner wasn't working and he wasn't working against Morton and he hooked him, I didn't see why you wouldn't.
Kenner was on the bench against Falkirk. He didn't start.
Oh, came off at half time.
I don't know. Sorry, I wasn't saying that Kenner was subbed against
Falkirk.
He made 4 subs and then he subbed him at half time against Morton.
Sorry.
What was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
So you said nobody's safe.
No, I don't think anyone's safe. Like, I don't think, like, as much as it come with a bit of fanfare, I don't think it's kind of like marquee signing fanfare. I don't think he's immune for a change.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in with Kenner the ball winner, when I give it to Tate and let Tate dictate the play. And that would be that would mean Newell dropping out, and assuming you keep Henderson. I think Henderson's had a good pre-season as well. And it probably shows that he's going to be a key player for us.
I think it's possible that you might see something like that sooner rather than later, depending on the severity of Doyle Hayes' injury. I think he was meant to have had was it a soft pad injury for having gone for plastic pitches to grass pitches at just whatever it was that happened with his foot. So depends if that heals or not.
Yeah, and I thought Del Ferry came on as well. Del Ferry, I think, would be a more likely swap for Kenner for the way that he plays. He looked more like the ball winner. But I thought he looked really good. And last one in Bojang today, Colin. What do you think he got
him? I can't actually remember. Did he come on in the second half? He didn't come on at half time.
Came on at half time.
Came on late. Did he?
Aye. Came on for Melkerson.
I can't remember much at all then. He seemed to get in positions, didn't he? He got in positions but didn't really. I think he had one he could have maybe hit the shot and pushed the boot with it too long and didn't get a shot away. But he looks like he's getting in positions, just not making any real impact when he's there, which is probably the starting point.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember him much with the ball or anything.
I thought he was quick, hard working. He was a nuisance for the defenders and very good in the air.
I'm sitting right next to you. Next to you. You remembered all that. Amazing.
Because you're too busy talking now. Like just
watch the fucking game.
Whatever he's saying, just sort of switch off and watch the game. Hear what you think is right when we're talking about it.
I can't remember what I said about him during the game either.
No, I thought it was really encouraging. The team, I thought it was good that they held out to win. I thought the development team, although they didn't get the win in the second half, I thought it was good that they didn't lose because Norwich were definitely having a go at them. So it was good for them to hold on.
It was interesting watching Lee Johnson. He was having a pop at the number 9, then the 4th official, their manager. I think the referee at one point as well.
I think he'd go to the referee.
So I don't think he knows the history of Hibs moaning about referees and that, because he's not going to get anywhere with that. Like, it's not going to work.
Nah,
But,
he'll be up in the stand there. Did Jack Ross get a touchline ban for the referees as well? He Heckenbottom chucked a water bottle, didn't he? Like, he got a ban for that. Lennon, mind, he got
Lennon was in and out. He had more time in the stand than he did in the dugout.
his first European game. Mind, he just come in. First European game. Fuck off, ban. Right. So just before we wrap up, then we have St Johnstone next week, where the league kicks off in earnest, or in Perth. I can't remember where Ernest is. I can't remember if I could say that. Right. If you live in Ernest, text in 8295. Tell us where you are. Quick predictions for you. So I think St Johnstone had a shit campaign as well. They won their last League Cup game, but still went out. John, how's the game going to go?
I'm going to say one each. I think it's going to be a shitey, boring game because St Johnstone will just do that.
Colin?
I've not seen. I don't even know what St Johnstone's results were, but I heard that they've not scored many goals again. So they've got the same problems they had last year, apart from the last game when they scored 4 or 5. But they scored something like 24 goals all season last year, and they've not really done anything about it. And they're probably one of the favourites for relegation. So I think we need to win on Saturday night to take the heat off a bit, but also because it's the easiest game we've got in the first 4. 1-0. Hibs.
Didn't I forget the haunting figures of Trey Wright, Melker Hallberg, Jamie Murphy, David Witherspoon.
Amazing,
almost half
amazing.
The first team.
I know. But they've not got a keeper yet. I didn't even sorted the keeper. They've got a keeper, but I think they got. Where did Zander Clark go? He left, didn't he?
Did he go to Dundee United? They were hoping to sign him. Sure.
But he left. He's left, and I don't think they've quite decided on who their new keeper is. And they're not scoring goals, so it's like, come on, Hibs.
Aye, I'll go 2-0 Hibs. I think we're due a bit of a break. I think
the league.
Aye, we'll go on top of the league and into Derby, and we'll worry about that when it comes. Right, if you want to hear us take apart what Ron Gordon said to the podcasts, we will be recording that right after this on Longbangers Extra Time. As I said at the start of the show, if you want to subscribe, you'll get that, plus previous Longbangers Extra Time episodes, plus weekly Short Bangers Extra, all for £3 a month. And you can sign up at longbangers.hubwave.net, and we would appreciate if you do that. And you also get all your content ad-free as well. So if you've had adverts on this episode, you wouldn't get them if you signed up. Right, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee.